Well, very simplistically, but very accurately, we are looking at the basin conditions as they are and where we need them to be in order to be considered sustainable according to our groundwater sustainability plan. So we're going to be talking today about one specific community program, the Level Up program, but we have other programs that are encouraging planning for building projects to encourage resilience. And certainly we want to increase the amount of water conservation that's coming back out. Next slide. So grant funds have enabled the GSA to create a number of exciting programs with our many local partners. Well Aware and Flow Smart are two of them. So this helps us gather a lot more information, more accurate information about groundwater use in the basin to develop programs. We are providing tools for greater conservation, and we're expanding the ability to add more water back into our basin, recycled more water that's already out of the ground, and of course store and recover more water. But we are focused on the next program. Next slide. The Level Up program. So we are here to focus on this kickoff. This is year 2 of the Level Up program. Year 1 engaged many resourceful and creative people, possibly some of you or many of you that have contributed to the success so far. And we look forward to more signing up and the word getting out. So I'm going to turn this over to Mitchell Buttress from Sonoma Water to provide a high-level overview of the groundwater sustainability plans.
Thanks, Mitch. Andy. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mitch. I'm a hydrogeologist with Sonoma Water. So just a quick background on the GSPs or groundwater sustainability plans. They were prepared over several years and submitted to the State Department of Water Resources. And for Petaluma Valley, Sonoma Valley, and Santa Rosa Plain, all 3 were approved in January 2023 by DWR. They were the result of many public meetings, stakeholder input, and input from our advisory committees, kind of synthesizing all the previous data and reports that have been done on the basins to meet the SGMA compliance. Next slide. And one of the key things in those plans was identifying that we still have data gaps in our understanding of the hydrogeology of the basins. And so we called out those data gaps in our different monitoring networks and kind of came up with different ways that we could address them. And we have a number of, as far as groundwater level monitoring, we have a number of dedicated monitoring wells, and we monitor municipal wells. But the idea of the Level Up program was, can we also kind of include the community of groundwater users and allow them to just help build out the network of data that we have for the basins. Next slide. And so some of those data gaps that we identified in the plans was the understanding the amount and locations of groundwater pumping, or just better understanding that. Big one is the understanding of the interconnection between the aquifer systems and surface water, how groundwater pumping can affect streams. That's something we've been working on. The role of faults and how the basin boundaries behave. 3-dimensional data gaps, that's just kind of talking about not just the location of where we monitor water levels, but also kind of the depth and accuracy of the wells. And aquifer characteristics, so better understanding recharge and discharge, and then not so much for Santa Rosa Plain, but for Petaluma and Sonoma, understanding any potential for seawater intrusion. Next slide. I think I handed off to the RCD here, Maria.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mitchell and Andy, for getting us started. My name is Maria Narowski, and I am the Community Engagement Program Manager for the Sonoma Resource Conservation District. And I'm going to speak a little bit just about an overview of Level Up, which was one of those 3 programs that were mentioned at the beginning and why we're all here today. And then in a little bit, Jose from Goldridge RCD will go a little bit more into the depths of like the details and how you actually sign up and what that looks like to do the actual testing. So the Level Up program involves checking out a well sounder, and I actually have one. This one's not our most functional one, but it looks just like this. And so there's a couple different locations you can check it out from, and we ideally want to do our testing in the months of October and April. October being one of our driest months when groundwater levels are at their lowest, and then April being one of the kind of the end of the rainy season when groundwater levels are at their highest. So we have a platform online that will kind of explain more in a little bit, but we're able to kind of capture all of that data. And it's really helpful for this to kind of see like an overview of what the aquifer looks like, where if we have this collective understanding of where water levels are at throughout an entire basin, we can kind of see the health of the basin and how things are fluctuating throughout different geographic areas. And then as it highlights down here, in particular in Petaluma Valley and Sonoma Valley, right, very close to the San Pablo Bay, we also have the ability to look for seawater intrusion. So if you or anyone you know is in one of those areas, you're able to kind of reach out to one of us and we can kind of connect with you to go a little bit deeper with that. But the biggest thing, we've got grant funding to help support with this through April of this next year, 2026. But the goal is that it doesn't just end then. This is ideally something that we'll be able to do perpetually into the future and have April and October be those key months where people can come check out the tool and continue to grow that data and have it be accessible on the data dashboard too, for everyone to kind of monitor how things are going in the decades to come. And then I am going to next slide myself. In terms of why the RCDs are involved in this particular project, as our name says, we're really focused on resource conservation, and groundwater is one of our key resources that is also one of our most limited ones. And so we work a lot with CAF and working with agricultural producers, especially with vineyards and some of the larger operations, and looking at a lot of them use a lot of water. And so a lot of times we'll assist in helping them like be aware of how much they're actually using and looking for water saving opportunities, especially those who are on wells. And then we also work a lot with more of rural landowners who are kind of throughout the county. We primarily focus on like Cloverdale, Healdsburg, Santa Rosa, Sonoma Valley, Cotati, and Petaluma. And then a lot of West County is with Goldridge, but we work hand in hand with them, kind of making sure everybody knows what their options are. We serve as one of the sites too for the actual well sounder checkout. But a lot of things we've been seeing over the past couple of years is that when groundwater levels are low, it impacts not just one person, but it impacts an entire community. So we're trying to work together, especially on some of these community monitoring opportunities, for people to get to see what's happening in their area, getting to know their neighbors, to have some of those conversations about what are things we can be doing to better use our groundwater. And then it does impact our local ecosystems. We focus a lot, especially here on our coho salmon and steelhead trout. And all of these things are interconnected. So we're focused both on like the people this is impacting and the businesses, and then also our native plants and animal life that groundwater could be impacting too. And then lastly, we actually just wrote a piece in our August e-news highlighting the upcoming monitoring happening in October. And I had reached out to, I think, 7 different participants who had done testing both in October of 2024 and then April in 2025. It had 2 great quotes that I wanted to highlight in terms of why people had decided to opt into monitoring, and then also their experience doing so. So I'm not going to read all of these, but they both pretty much highlighted that They like realize that groundwater is something that is limited and it's a collective thing we all need to be working to preserve and to monitor. And then both of them were pleasantly surprised at how easy it is to actually do the monitoring. Most of the time, the most time intensive piece is like physically coming to check out the monitor. The process itself is, like it says down here, just about 5 minutes too. And I really love this line down here. Doing this twice a year is a very little effort in return for data that will help to keep our community safe and vibrant. I would strongly encourage anyone with a will to sign up and participate in this program. If you check out our Instagram and our Facebook, the full piece on the program is on there as well. And I'm going to pass it off to Raina from CAF to talk more specifically about groundwater and agriculture. And I will give you the next slide too.
Thank you, Maria. Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Raina Yagi. I'm with the Community Alliance of Family Farmers. We're a California-based nonprofit focused on building sustainable food and farming systems through advocacy and on-the-ground programs. I'm just giving a little background about us, and similar to the RCDs, we're very much in this partnership universe of all of us being part of this groundwater sustainability efforts. I myself also run a small-scale vegetable farm in Sebastopol and know the challenges, or am currently experiencing those challenges of navigating farm water needs. So just a little more background, CAF began its Sigma and Small Farmers program this past year, focusing on outreach and education for small and especially underrepresented farmers. And we know from farmer listening sessions we held around the state, we do it every year, but there are clear requests from farmers for CAF to focus on more equitable water access and bringing more farmer voices into Sigma implementation. And so we are happy to be supported by our Sonoma County GSA partners in this call and to be brought into their outreach efforts for programs like this Level Up program. So water concerns are seemingly a constant for many farmers. This is not new territory, but we know additionally it can be tough to be farming, to be involved, to attend meetings, and just get good info on what's going on locally with groundwater in the area, with just the demands and the seasonal demands of running a small business and a farm business in particular. So every farm always has a unique need, different scales, different practices, and we're trying to capture a lot of that to integrate into lots of these local programming and outreach. So you can kind of see CAF as just another integral outreach arm of our GSA for small family farms. So we can help get you what you need, help you understand, help you through some things, and connect you to programmatic opportunities like Level Up, because this is all about protecting our local environment and our local economy, of which farms make up a big portion of, as we know. Go ahead and read to the next slide. So we know from looking at other basins, perhaps other folks that are in a little tougher situations around the state, that groundwater overdraft can cause a slew of issues for farms, right? Lower flow rates, decreased water quality, which in turn affects crop health, impact to pumping systems. We've seen across the board, particularly for small agricultural users, that they characteristically rely on shallow wells more so than others. So if an aquifer gets overdrafted, they're often impacted first. And then we know that in cases of land fouling, it can be an unfortunate outcome result, an unfortunate necessary option for folks that, again, can be a bigger hit to folks on shallower wells. And so we're keeping that in mind about what this could mean if we don't keep our groundwater levels in check. So across the scale, across the board, farms can feel a layering of all these, a few of these, or a layering of all these impacts should overdraft occur. So go ahead to the next slide, Maria. Though it begs the question, what can you do? And that's what Level Up is supposed to be, one of many opportunities to just get started with measuring and monitoring. So we know saving water and irrigating efficiently is always important, drought or not, but it's important to have actual data on where your well is at. So some things that Level Up can give you insights in is to, like, how much do I really have roughly, or how have well levels fared over many seasons or through drought years or an extreme weather event, as we're seeing more often. So by participating, you're also providing more valuable data into the larger aquifer and sort of neighborhood picture of your area that really helps us complete what we're seeing and what is hard to see below the ground. So all this in turn can help prepare you for any potential well, water, or well condition concerns for the future. Just see it as like this long-term investment. So drought, affordability, and water supply always at the top of mind each new farming season, right? And it's increasingly hard to know sometimes how to predict how the next season will go with increasingly variable climate. making it even tougher for crop planning and management. So Level Up, again, is a great long-term investment to insist in your long-term vision of your operations. So as it's put pretty well here by one of our farmer participants, just like Maria said, you know, this farmer stated it pretty plainly. I decided to do it just so I'm covering my backside. It's in my best interest and operational longevity to get a measurement and know this data ahead of time before things go wonky or times get tougher. So I couldn't be put any better or any simply. Go ahead, next slide. Oh, I think that's it for me. Next slide or next person.
Thank you, Rina. My name is Jose Guzman. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Coleridge Resource Conservation District. And in this segment of the webinar, I'm going to go over the steps that you need to follow to enroll in this program. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to take a measurement. Next slide, please, Maria. So to enroll in this program, you need to complete 2 different forms. The first form has general contact information questions about you, questions about the location of your well. Next slide. And the second form, when you submit the first one, you're going to receive an email basically welcoming you to the program and asking you to submit another form, the volunteer well information form. The second form has more questions, but are more technical. If you need help to answer this question, you can send us an email. But in this webinar, we're going to show you how to answer these technical questions. Next slide. When you complete this second form, the technical staff is going to review your information, and then it's going to give you a well ID number. And you're going to use this number after you take your measurement to submit your measurement online to the data dashboard. If you don't receive this number, technically you can still participate in Level Up, but you need the number to submit the information online. Next slide. And that's it. After completing these forms, you are enrolled in Level Up. It's very simple. It only takes a couple minutes. And again, the second form is the one that can take you a little bit more time. Then you can send us an email and we can support you. Next slide, Maria. So after you are enrolled in this program, you need to take a look at your well and first make sure that you understand how to open your well so you can take a measurement. No all wells look the same. So you need to become familiar on how to open it to take a measurement. And then you need to decide on what method you're going to use to take a measurement. Again, the Level Up program has a easy to use tool that you can borrow for free to take a measurement. But you need to schedule a date to borrow this tool from the GSA, as Maria mentioned before. Next slide. There are different methods that you can use to measure the water levels inside your well. The one that we are promoting for this program is the Sonic Water Level Measurement Tool. And we decided to use this tool because it offers multiple benefits for you, for your well, and in general for the community. Next slide. The Sonic Water Level Measurement Tool is very easy to use. It's self-contained. You can obtain measurements in seconds, and you don't have to worry about cross-contamination if multiple individuals are borrowing this tool and are taking measurement. Basically, this tool uses acoustic air signals to measure the depth of the well. And again, you can get a measurement in seconds. Next slide. It is very small, as Maria showed you before. We have a couple of pictures here. You can borrow it for free again, and we have different locations where you can borrow it. We have one in Santa Rosa, one in Petaluma, and one in Sonoma. Next slide. So after completing the forms and after making sure that you know how to open your well, you are ready for measurement day. On measurement day, you need to stop using your well, stop pumping water out of your well for at least 2 hours before you take the measurement. And those 2 hours will give the well enough time to stabilize its water levels inside. The second step is just to pick up the tool that you reserve in advance. Take the measurement, and I'm going to show you a video on how to take this measurement. Again, going back to the feedback that we received, the comments of the participants, it only takes 5 minutes. It's very simple. And after taking the measurement, you record the number that to water measurement in a piece of paper or on your phone, and then you submit that number to the data dashboard online. And the final step, step 5, is the step where you're going to use the well ID number. That's why I mentioned that technically you can participate in this program without receiving the well ID number. It's very simple. You can invite your neighbors to join this program, and you can do like an arrangement for measurement day where multiple people can take measurements on the same day. Our staff can help you, and we are organizing some measurement dates too during the weekend. So you have to be alert when we announce these measurement days. Next slide. And in this section, I'm going to show you a video, and my coworker is going to take a measurement on one of these wells.
I'm gonna
Let's watch it.
re-share my screen really fast so it's optimized for video and sound. Just give us 1 second. Maybe. Okay. I think it should be good.
We can hear it.
Can you guys hear it?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second. I want to wave at the camera.
Sorry about that. And thank you, Maria.
One thing to note is that video is posted on our website and on our YouTube channel, and it's 3 minutes long. It's a really good resource to just be able to quickly check out if you want to get a quick tutorial.
And if you have problems to find that video, you can send us an email. We can share it with you.
It's not letting me share my sound. Do we want to jump to the next slide and I can pull it up on a browser and share it that way?
I can also send it with this recording. I'm going to send the recording to everybody, and I'll send that video as a separate link as well.
That sounds good. Sorry.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Maria.
Okay. Can you guys see the slide deck again?
Yes.
Cool.
So yeah, the video is very, very short, just a couple minutes. And like Pam said, is just a tutorial on how to take a measurement. And the next slide. And after taking the measurement, you go to the Sonoma County Groundwater Agency website, and you go to the dashboard and submit your recording using your well ID number. And you're gonna submit this measurement on one of these forms. Next slide.
All right, this is me. Great. So I'm just gonna take you all through the volunteer well information form. Now that's the first form that you're gonna get when you sign up for the program, as Jose was just telling you about the one you do when you do get your measurement. So I wanted to dive a little deeper into this one just because there's a few things that's worth specifying a little more. So there are a few questions here, and I want to take just a few minutes to explain further. A note here as well, as we've written a well completion report as an option. Sometimes folks still have those records on them. That would have a lot of this information, not necessarily required. Just know this is where it would be housed if you have it still. And another add as well, if you have your own monitoring equipment or method in which you have done this previously, you can absolutely still participate. You just have to mark on the form that you are using your own. So that's great. We're glad you're doing that, and can utilize your data in that way to keep getting some good information. So go ahead to the next slide and I'll dive in a little deeper into the first point. So the form is going to ask you to get your well's GPS coordinates. So simply you just open Google Maps, enter your address, and then you're going to right click the place or area on that map. You'll see like a pop-up window and your latitude and longitude is in a decimal format. You can kind of see that at the bottom of the screen. That's the pop-up. Lat and long is in the bottom in the blue. If your well location is different from your property address, you can enter that address itself, or if you have it or right click roughly where it is on Google Maps as well, you can navigate within the pane there. To copy those coordinates automatically, just left click on the latitude and longitude and copy. And then in your form, you just want to be sure to first list the latitude, then the longitude. Go ahead to the next slide. The next question in the form that it's used a little further explaining is the height of the top of your well above the surrounding ground surface, basically in feet. So this can be approximate, but we are simply asking how high the well extends above the ground. 2 to 3 feet is pretty common. Ideally, the well owner can just go out with a measuring tape and measure the distance from the ground to the top of the well. It's pretty important because we want to know the elevation, i.e. in feet above the mean sea level of the point where you'll be collecting measurements from. So if we have a latitude and longitude for the well, we can plug that into a sort of digital elevation model to get the elevation of the ground surface at that location. Then we just need to add the height of the well to get an approximate top of casing elevation. Next up, you'll be asked for screened intervals. So a well screened interval is the part of the well casing that has perforations or screens that allow groundwater to freely enter the well while keeping rock fragments out. So it's kind of a bit of a hard diagram to see, but just going to walk you through basically what it's looking like under the ground there. The screened interval of a well is the sum of multiple well segments, such as the screen, the blank casing, filter pack. The length of the screen interval is used in calculations to represent the portion of the aquifer that the well can draw from. So this information might be in the paper you have, like I mentioned, the well completion report, maybe a maintenance report that you have at home or related to your well permit records. It's pretty valuable information, though we're aware that many well owners don't know this or can't find this. So if you've done your best to dig up that information, just write unknown. We don't want you to feel like you still can't participate, but just know that we can still try and work with you to get you through this program. So if any of that didn't make sense or you need further information, all of us are here to pick up the call and we can walk you through any part of this form. So yeah, next slide. And I believe I'm handing it back to Maria.
Yeah. So as we've talked about, we have the Well Sounder tool, which is available for checkout. And if you have your own or have a friend who has like tools that you can use, you're more than welcome to use your own. But if you don't, which like most people do not, we have, as of right now, 3 different locations that you can check out tools from. In Sonoma Valley, we have Valley of the Moon Water District. In Petaluma Valley, City of Petaluma has one you can check out. And then in Santa Rosa, us at the Sonoma RCD, we are located right by Montgomery Village, have a tool you can check out. And then it seems like in the near future, potentially not in October, but maybe by the springtime, Sonoma Water will also have one as a potential site for checking a tool out. And we have a tool called TidyCal that we just got up and running. It's a different one if you've used it in the past than Calendly, which is how you can actually reserve the tool. You reserve it for pretty much the whole day. Most places, it kind of varies based on hours for staffing, but normally pick it up around 9 until 10 and drop it off by like 4 to 5 p.m. So the next person for the next day has access to it. For this upcoming fall season, our first date is going to be Monday, September 9th. So just over 2 weeks from now. And then right now we've got spots open through
29, September 29.
Oh, I said October. Yes, sorry. Monday, September 29th. And then they'll close as of right now on Friday, November 7th. So you've got all of October plus a little leeway on both ends to actually check out the tool. And if you have any questions, like let's say you go to log in, you're having any issues with it, you're always more than welcome to reach out to any of us and we can either help you troubleshoot what's going on or help you kind of sign up. It is a new platform, so we're all kind of learning it too. So if there's any issues that come up, please do let us know. You might not be the only person having some issues with it. And depending on the site, there might be technical staff on site who can kind of help you with any questions. That's not guaranteed at every site though, so we'll make sure you have access to all of our contact information where if something comes up and you've got a question and the person who's helping you check it out doesn't have the answers, we can get you help as soon as possible. And any of those links to check out the tools are on each of the GSA websites. And then in any email correspondence you see, just like the follow-up email from this webinar, we'll have those linked on there as well.
Great. And this is my part. Jose already mentioned this, but invite your neighbors. This is a great way to encourage everyone in your neighborhood to coordinate locally, not just because it's feel good, but because actually it's a great way to utilize the tool, checking it out for a full day and getting more people to do it in one day. So perhaps, you know, together you and your neighbors can learn about the process together, help each other out, collect valuable insights to like your area and your neighborhood. And sort of you get to keep a collective eye season to season on your sort of your shared water supply. So we're suggesting you could plan a measuring day, and maybe that one person can check out the tool and then everyone can kind of go around, and again, it takes less than 5 minutes to actually take the measurement and do it together. So maybe you're particularly tech savvy. I mean, again, it's not complicated, but you enjoy just new technology, collecting data. It can be a really fascinating process. And you could lead a training for your neighbors and just be a really helpful lead on the how-to of this whole process. So just really want to encourage that, because when you do check out the tool, it is a full day. And so you actually have a lot of time to do some measurements with folks in your area. So again, if you have any questions about maybe try to be more of a lead on that and you want to make sure you know how to do it well, another thing you can reach out to us for. Go ahead, next slide.
Yeah, so just want to talk a little bit, and we'll do a demonstration of our data dashboard. So basically, once you're enrolled in the program and you begin submitting semi-annual measurements, your well will show up on this GIS platform we have, and you'll be able to view a hydrograph of your measurements over time, and also additional data that we have for the basins. Next slide. So I'll go over the different features of the dashboard, but you can view a single well hydrograph, or you can combine multiple hydrographs to compare water levels and across different wells or different areas. And you'll see your well will just show up as like a dot in your general location. It won't have any your name or address or anything. It'll just kind of be a data point on the map. And yeah, so it helps, in addition to, you know, being there for you to see, it really helps us. And, you know, when we contour the groundwater surface for our annual reports, and just helps to calibrate the models of the basins. And it really just having all these new little points, data points, really help to kind of piece the puzzle together for us. So and I think I'll share my screen now and just kind of run through what the data dashboard looks like. Let's see. Okay, so we should just be seeing the homepage for the Santa Rosa Plain GSA. Is that right? Yeah. So you can get to the dashboard through any of the GSA's web pages. You would just go to Resources and Sonoma County Groundwater Data Dashboard. And then you would just click on this image of it. Okay, did the dashboard pop up for you guys too? Yeah. Okay. So there's the three Sigma basins. So you just click on the basin you're in. Say you're in Santa Rosa Plain. There's various different tools within the dashboard here. The kind of most used one is the groundwater levels application. So you could launch that. And you'll see anyone who's enrolled in the program, with the exception of maybe the last month or so, there's a little bit of a lag time to get your well in here. Your well should be showing up as one of these yellow level up program wells. So for instance, over here in kind of the Hessel area, south of Sebastopol, we have a bunch of participants. And so you would just, the level up wells only have 1 or 2 data points, so there's not a whole lot to look at. But if you want to look at the hydrograph for your well, say for instance, you were this one here, you just click on the well. A hydrograph will pop up on the left, or you can open a more detailed hydrograph in a separate window. And so, over time, you'll get a really cool picture of what the water levels look like in your well. You'll see the spring measurements in green here, and then the fall measurements each year in orange. You'll see this well kind of has about 20 years of data and shows a generally stable water level trend with higher levels in the spring and lower in the fall. And then another thing you can do is if you want, let's say you're seeing some declining levels in your well and you're wondering if that's something that's happening in my area, or is it maybe just an issue with my own well. So you can go to this compare multiple wells tool and zoom in on your area. So I was at that same well. So I want to, you just go over to this little lasso tool here and draw the area where you want to compare hydrographs. So let's say I want to compare these two. And I want to see all the data for those wells. You can maximize that. So you'll see, okay, yeah, my water levels, the trends look very similar to other wells in the area. We all saw a little decline during the drought in the early 2020s, and then things kind of bounced back. And then so there's various other tools. I won't get too much into those, but you could also look at our data gap areas from the groundwater sustainability plan. So those are the areas where, we maybe need help more than others as far as getting additional wells. You can view the representative monitoring points, which are like the wells in the groundwater sustainability plans that we've actually set thresholds for. Just as part of our sustainable management criteria for the basin. And those are some more detailed hydrographs there. And then one important thing is when you're ready to submit your data, each time you take a measurement, this is the best place to access that form. No matter which tab you're in here, you'll see this voluntary data submission link. And that will just take you to the water level data reporting form. And you would just enter your basic information, the key ones to get it to link up with our database is your well ID that was sent to you and your well PIN. That's just kind of a check to make sure you're not entering data into somebody else's well ID. So you have to also enter the PIN you were given. And as Jose said, we ask the time since the well was last pumped, ideally over 12 hours, but if it's at least 2 hours, that's generally considered to be a fairly stable water level at that point. And we ideally don't want to take the measurement within 2 hours of pumping. And I think that's about it for the dashboard. I'll stop sharing and hand it back to Andy.
Yeah, thanks, team. Lots of information, and hopefully got you thinking. Wanted to provide a bit of time to, if you had some questions, there is a button in the bottom toolbar of your Zoom screen where you can click on it for a Q&A, and basically you can type in your questions and we're happy to answer those, and happy to do that. And while I'm not seeing any yet, just wanted to say that as all the team members have mentioned, we are here to help. And we do know that, you know, even if it's a simple thing, sometimes the first time just requires a little assurance that you're doing things right. And we're happy to provide that support. The value to the GSAs and the ability to manage our basins is really enhanced by the additional information. So we have the data gaps shown that Mitch was pointing out, but we need, you know, more information is always better. It provides validation for data that we have in a certain area, and so more data is better. So does anybody have any questions? Do any team members want to add anything they forgot to mention, or?
I'd love to just pop on if possible. Pamela here at Sonoma Water, and I just wanted to note that it's those folks in the county who have actually voluntarily on their own been doing this for a long time, find the information is useful, of course, for the GSA and others, but it's useful for them specifically, and also really fascinating to kind of see how their well level changes and fluctuates with the seasons. And we find that once people start doing it, they're really interested, and I think it's also just a little bit fun to know a little bit more about it too.
Thanks, Pam. And just I'll make one more point, is that, and I think it was mentioned a couple of times, this being a very large underground storage tank that's shared and used by all of us. The more of us that help steward that resource, the better off we're all going to be. The GSA is just one of the partners here to help facilitate that. If you're interested in more information, maybe we touched on something that you're curious about, we have an awful lot of information resources that we can provide you access to. Again, our website is one place, but we can also talk to you and help you, guide you to where that information resource is. Okay, I'm seeing a question. Roanoke Park put in a new well close to East Railroad Ave and the Petaluma Basin. How deep is the well and what levels do they pump? How will this affect our wells close to the area? Do they need to collect this data 2 times a year? So I'm going to let Mitch answer this question, but I'm pretty sure that is a monitoring well and not a pumping well. So that answers part of your question. But Mitch, do you remember how deep that is?
Yeah, that's right. So it's just a monitoring well. There will be no extraction out of that well, so it won't affect any nearby wells. The total depth of that was about 500 feet. And we installed 3 different well casings in that single borehole. So it's a multi-level monitoring well. I don't have the exact screened intervals of those off the top of my head, but one was down in the low deep 400s, and the shallowest one I think was near around 100 feet, and there was one in between. And each of those casings will be equipped with a transducer to monitor water levels on like a hourly basis, and then we'll just go out a couple times per year, collect manual measurements, and download the data. and then that data will show up on the dashboard. So if you are a resident in that area, it's meant to be a resource for you, especially if you're a well owner in that area, to where you could go on the dashboard and see a very high resolution picture of water levels at different zones in the aquifer.
Follow-up is the monitoring well is on Petaluma Hill Road. Yes. I thought there was another well put in by Runner Park by the railroad tracks before the monitoring well on Petaluma Hill. I don't know about that myself. Anybody on the team? Well, BJ,
No.
we can certainly inquire, but if you have other information you want us to follow up on, feel free to follow up with us. But that's not something I don't think we had anything to do with. Any other thoughts or questions?
One other thing that we could mention is I know people over the last year doing this, people have been very concerned about privacy. And I want you to know that we pay very strict attention to keeping your information private. Although there is this data dashboard, we anonymize your identity on there, your contact information, and it's kind of a high level point on a map. And even amongst the people on this call, very few have access to what your well reading actually was and who you are. So we take that very seriously if that is something that you're concerned about. And there's some misinformation that gets around, like we're monitoring how much water you're using, and that is not what this program is. This program is the aquifers water, the depth of the water, and it has nothing to do with how much water you're using.
Thanks, Pam.
And yeah,
Let's
I think we
give.
have a couple questions in the chat.
Thanks, Jose. Is the city of Santa Rosa still using its 3 emergency wells in the south part of the city? The south part of the city. So I'm not sure about the south part of the city. There are 3 wells on the western side of the basin that are emergency wells that Sonoma Water has. And one's being, and I'm not sure if those are the ones you're talking about, but one's being evaluated for, can it be used for recharging the basin with winter water? And so that study is underway, if that's what you're referring to. And then there's another question, and Mitch, I don't know if you wanted to add to that at all, or if there's any clarifying questions from
Yeah, no, not really.
Jeremy. Okay. What determines the GSA, the line that outlines the basin? Is that a geological definition? And it is. Those are maps that were drawn by the state quite a while ago. And so those are the maps that were provided that formed the area that was required to form a groundwater sustainability agency and manage the basin to sustainability by 2042.
We have a new question in the Q&A.
Okay. I'm certain your agency did not have anything to do with our Rohnert Park's wells, but their wells can affect our wells in the county. Do you monitor the major cities' water usage in these 3 areas? And yes, the wholesale answer is absolutely. I mean, the GSA is charged with looking at the basin as a whole unit. And certainly the cities are, about 1/3 of the extraction in the basins, roughly. And so they're definitely a major part of the extraction. We're paying close attention to the monitoring and all throughout the basin. And so since I said about the 1/3 for the municipalities, it's about 1/3 agriculture and about 1/3 rural residential and other users.
Andy,
All right,
we had offered to stay on if somebody wanted help filling out any of those forms or had questions about their well. It'd be nice to know in the chat if somebody intends to stay for that portion after 6, or if that's something they'd rather do independently. I don't know.
yes. Does anybody want some time with the team here to help fill out their information, or? Give you just a couple seconds to write something in, or you just have to put yes. I'm not seeing anything yet. So,
Otherwise, we're easy to get a hold of. And again, these fabulous people are happy to help you. If you are of a farm and well, Raina will speak with you. If Jose or Maria can help you, there's so much help.
there's a question, can we come to an office to get help with a form? Somebody on the team? I mean, there's where you check the water level meter out, perhaps.
I
Is
would
that
say
in-
maybe Sonoma RCD. Maria, what do you think? Because I think you would make an appointment so they would know you're coming.
Yeah, I'll say most of our office, sorry, just dropped my laptop, is hybrid or fully remote. So definitely reach out ahead of time. And the same team that runs our GSA program does a lot in terms of helping people with like physical monitoring and then also all of our education programming. So if you want help, I would definitely reach out prior to, I think September 25th is our first field trip. So prior to that date would be ideal. After that, just the availability of someone to be in the office is going to be much more limited. But if we can swing it, we're more than happy to meet someone in person in Santa Rosa to help them kind of go through everything.
Jose, what's the situation at Goldridge?
Yeah, very similar. We have a hybrid schedule, but if you need help, like I said, I'm part of the Goldridge Resource Conservation District, which is the West County. If you're in that region, send me an email and we can arrange a office time. But yes.
Great. Well, okay. I appreciate the questions and the folks here that spent the hour with us, and we hope this was helpful and informative. We'd love to know if we could do this again, if there was something different that you would like to see. We'd love to get the feedback. If you enjoyed it or what you valued, we'd of course always like to hear that too. But in the meantime, thank you, everybody. Thank you, panel. And oh, yes, can you speak to the recording, Pamela?
Absolutely. We are recording this webinar, so we will post the recording of it on our YouTube channel and our website. And if you registered, anyone who registered, and we had more than those who attended, some ended up not being able to make it live, we will email everybody directly who registered to get this information, and you'll have that in your inbox.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and have a good night. And we look forward to managing the basin with you.